The 2025 season is officially underway, and here's what we learned in Week 1.
Picks it up and slides down inbounds.
Aaron Rodgers returned to East Rutherford in his new team's threads for Week 1. The 41-year-old showed sage savviness and even some youthful movement, guiding Pittsburgh to a comeback win over his former club with a fourth-quarter touchdown pass to Austin. Sunday showed that he can still sling it when he has time. The quarterback finished 22 of 30 passing for 244 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Aaron Rodgers leads the Steelers.
Justin Fields showcased both his running and passing skills, leading 6 scoring drives with 218 passing yards, a touchdown, and 2 rushing TDs. But on 4th and 3 with 25 seconds remaining, Ramsey popped Wilson with a hard hit, drawing the ball loose and ending the Jets' threat. It was a close one, but the Steelers pulled away 34-32 with the win over the Jets. The Packers stunned the 2024 NFC North champions with a dominant win. Jordan Love set the tone early with 2 touchdowns and a field goal in the first 3 possessions, spreading the ball effectively across different receivers. Though not flawless, he showed poise after setbacks and led key touchdown drives, making the Packers look like playoff contenders.
They are in sync and on top.
The Lions' offense struggled in John Morton's debut. They drove into the red zone 3 different times in the game's first 35 minutes, but those ended with 2 field goals and an interception. Rookie Isaac Teslaub provided a highlight touchdown. However, their offensive unit looked far less explosive than under Ben Johnson. Fittingly, Micah Parsons capped the game with the sack, cementing a 27-13 statement win over the Lions. The Bucs headed to Atlanta for a late-game thriller. Perhaps the Buccaneers should operate as if they're always in a 2-minute drill. They struggled to generate offense for most of the game, only showing urgency in a late 5-play, 63-yard drive, capped with a 25-yard touchdown to rookie Emeka Egbuka. Fortunately, they found it at the perfect time on the road for a key divisional win to open up the season.
25 yards from Mayfield to the rookie.
Atlanta's defense played impressively for most of the game, consistently pressuring Mayfield with a pressure rate of 40.5%. And the Falcons played well enough to win until the final 2 minutes. An unbalanced offense struck at the worst possible time. After a Falcons missed field goal, the Bucs moved to 1-0 with a 23-20 win. The Colts and Daniel Jones stunned viewers with their efficiency in Week 1. Daniel Jones looked sharp in his Colts debut, officially carving up Miami's defense for 272 yards, 3 touchdowns, and strong chemistry with Michael Pittman and rookie tight end Tyler Warren. With Jonathan Taylor contained, Jones still kept the offense humming as Indianapolis impressed by scoring on all 7 possessions.
A perfect day for the Indianapolis Colts.
The Dolphins stumbled badly as Tua committed 3 turnovers and the offense looked lost without reliable targets. The defense didn't look much better in absence of Ramsey. Indianapolis dominated across the board, exposing Miami in first downs, yardage, and time of possession. South Beach might already need to press the panic button. The Colts stole a confident 33-8 win over the Dolphins. MVPs Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen battled to the finish line in Sunday's nightcap. This game flirted with being a blowout at times, particularly after Henry's second touchdown gave Baltimore a 40-25 lead. Allen wasn't having it. The Bills scored on their final 3 drives, an Allen touchdown run, an Allen to Coleman 10-yard strike, and a Matt Prater game-winning field goal as time expired. With over 400 yards and 4 total touchdowns, the first Sunday night of 2025 belonged to the reigning MVP. Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson lit up the Ravens' offense for 3 quarters, but a late fumble and a scoreless finish turned a masterpiece into a collapse. It's imperative that a bounce back comes in Week 2 against the Browns. In one of the most thrilling Sunday Night Football comebacks, the Bills scored an important 41-40 win over the Ravens. The Bengals and Zach Taylor heard all the talk about slow starts in seasons prior. They finally overcame those early season struggles to secure a win in Week 1, with Joe Burrow leading a steady scoring drive and Chase Brown pacing the ground game for a 14-point first-half cushion. Now, the defense capitalized on opportunities, snagging 2 drop passes for INTs and increased quarterback pressure in the second half.
Intercepted!
Cleveland squandered multiple chances to start the season with a win, dropping key passes and failing to convert scoring opportunities despite a strong defensive effort. Missed kicks by rookie Andre Schmitz and unreliable catching by Flacco's targets left the Browns empty-handed.
He missed it wide to the right!
Bengals edged the Browns in a close 17-16 win to kick off the season. The Jaguars provided Travis Hunter with action on both sides of the ball in his NFL debut, but their win fell in the hands of other stars. Despite a 1 hour and 16-minute lightning delay, Jacksonville looked sharp, coach under Liam Cohen, scoring on 4 of its first 5 drives to pull away from Carolina. Now, Trevor Lawrence, he showed promise but struggled with timing, while Trevor Etienne dominated the run game, 143 yards on 16 carries, perfectly fitting into Cohen's offense.
Big play for Etienne.
Bryce Young opened his 2025 campaign with 2 interceptions while missing throws and looking unsettled behind shaky protection. Aside from rookie Tet McMillan's 68 yards, the Panthers' offense offered little support as Young's rough day ended with a tipped interception. The Jags topped the Panthers 26-10. The number 1 overall pick traveled to Denver to make his NFL debut. Cam Ward showed flashes, but his receivers repeatedly failed him when he delivered accurate passes, and the entire unit produced very little evidence of scoring on a weekly basis. Their defense is undoubtedly their strength and handed their offense 3 extra possessions from takeaways, but eventually ran out of gas. There's plenty of room for improvement for Tennessee.
50-50 ball is taken away.
Bo Nix played with confidence, making big throws, including a touchdown to Cortland Sutton, but also committed 2 interceptions and a fumble. It was a solid outing, though riskier decisions could prove costly against stronger opponents. With a sack fumble on Ward to end the game, Broncos secured a 20-12 win. 2 2024 playoff teams faced off in Los Angeles to open up the season. Despite dealing with a back injury, Matthew Stafford looked sharp against a tough Texans defense, making clutch throws in a vintage third-quarter drive capped by a touchdown to Davis Allen. They also found strong rhythm with Puka Nacua, and while the offense started slow and had a late fumble, it was an encouraging opener for the Rams. Houston's banged-up offensive line struggled against the Rams' pass rush, leaving C.J. Stroud under constant pressure, despite his efficiency when throwing on the run. With little help from the run game or receivers, the Texans' new-look offense looks stagnant and has some work ahead. After a late-game fumble, Rams pull off a 14-9 win over the Texans in dramatic fashion. 2024's Offensive Rookie of the Year, Jaden Daniels, returned for his sophomore season with a Week 1 matchup against the Giants. Washington dominated early but costly mistakes, including 12 penalties and a key grounding call, kept the Giants in the game until the 4th quarter. Deebo Samuel highlighted the day with a cleverly designed reverse to finally put the Giants away. Give credit to Washington's defense, too, who kept the Giants out of the end zone. The Giants struggled without star left tackle Andrew Thomas, producing little offense and failing to convert key opportunities while facing constant pressure on Russell Wilson. Despite some individual plays from Malik Neighbors and Wan'Dale Robinson, missed chances and a lack of a plan for rookie Jackson Dart left the team largely ineffective. Giants fall in Wilson's debut with a 21-6 loss to the Commanders. A new-look Raiders face the Patriots in Week 1. Geno Smith's Raiders debut impressed with a strong touchdown drive to start. Myers and Tucker stepped up after Brock Bowers went down. Genty was good in short yardage, including a touchdown run. Pete Carroll has to be happy with the start to his first season in Vegas.
He looks like a star in the making.
The Patriots showed early promise with a 10-7 halftime lead, but Drake May's inconsistency, a stagnant run game, and unreliable protection derailed them after the break. Rookie left tackle Will Campbell's costly 4th-quarter mistakes sealed their fate.
And is able to beat Campbell to get that ball out.
Raiders opened the season 1-0 with a 2013 win over the Patriots. 49ers and Seahawks gave us an electric finish to the afternoon slate. Following the Niners' go-ahead touchdown, Sam Darnold gave Seattle a late chance with a 40-yard strike to Jackson Smith and Jigba, but a Nick Bosa fumble recovery ended the comeback bid.
The 49ers have it!
Despite an efficient 16-23 passing day, the Seahawks' limited offensive opportunities made for a gloomy end for Seattle's season opener. George Kittle's exit left the 49ers short-handed, but third-string tight end Jake Tonjes stepped up with a clutch 4th-quarter touchdown grab to seal the win in Seattle. Backed by a defense that held the Seahawks to just 230 yards, San Francisco overcame mistakes to secure the win. The 49ers start 1-0 after a 17-13 victory over the Seahawks. Week 1 took us international for a Chiefs-Chargers matchup in Brazil. The Chargers snapped their long skid against Kansas City by opening 2025 with a surprising pass-heavy attack that caught the Chiefs off guard and built an early lead. Justin Herbert sealed the win with a late touchdown drive, answering doubts about whether Greg Roman's offense would expand beyond last season's run-first identity.
Picks it up and slides down inbounds.
The Chiefs' defense, once their strength, looked vulnerable in the 2025 opener as Justin Herbert torched their weakened secondary for 394 yards. Spagnuolo's blitz-heavy adjustments couldn't save him, and Kansas City will need major defensive improvements to stay atop the AFC.
Heated moments there on the defensive side.
Chargers finished with an important 27-21 win over the Chiefs. The Cowboys and Eagles kicked us off Thursday night with an absolutely bizarre way to open up the season. Jalen Carter's ejection left the Eagles defense reeling as Dallas scored on 4 of its first 5 drives. Now the unit steadied after halftime despite 110 penalty yards, an overworked Jordan Davis, and shaky quarterback play that exposed lingering concerns. Dak Prescott looked sharp in his return from last year's hamstring injury, flashing improved pocket movement and even making a touchdown-saving tackle after Miles Sanders' fumble. But 3 costly fourth-quarter drops by CeeDee Lamb doomed the Cowboys and Brian Schottenheimer's debut, leaving Dallas short despite plenty of chances to win.
Third time in the half.
In the end, the reigning champs pulled off a 24-20 win over their division rivals. The Saints hosted the Cardinals for their season opener. Kyler Murray led Arizona efficiently with 163 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and 38 rushing yards, overcoming 5 sacks to ignite the offense. Big plays to Marvin Harrison Jr. and Trey McBride highlighted a start that positions the Cardinals as NFC West contenders.
Safety blanket and Trey McBride.
New Orleans' veteran kept the Saints competitive, but Spencer Rattler's cautious play limited their offense. Despite a late end zone opportunity, Rattler's lack of downfield threats and a drop pass by Juwan Johnson sealed Arizona's win.
Caught! And then dropped.
Saints dropped to 0-1 in a 2013 loss to the Cardinals. It was one of the best games of the year, and we have a shocking 0-2 team. I'm Mike Yam, and here's what we learned in Week 2.
Wow. Never a doubt. On to overtime. Wow.
What a game it was. The Cowboys handled business in a shootout that featured 6 lead changes in the fourth quarter and overtime. Dak Prescott, he throws for 361 and 2 touchdowns. Maybe the best kicker on the planet, Brandon Aubrey, made a 64-yard game-tying field goal as time expired in regulation to force overtime. He'd eventually kick a game winner too. Now, the guy said after the matchup that his range is 70 to 71 yards, and that feels so believable.
Wow. Never a doubt.
Russell Wilson, he quieted some of those benching calls. This is a throwback. 450 yards, 3 touchdowns, vintage Russ cooking. Hit Malik Neighbors, Wan'Dale Robinson on some explosive deep strikes that gave the Giants a late lead. Now Wilson's overtime interception, though, that set up Dallas's win, but he showed he could still play at a high level. With the league's toughest schedule, this is a game Giants fans are going to look back at all season and ask themselves, what if? In a Super Bowl rematch, the Eagles outmuscled the Chiefs in a defensive slugfest. Season control, Andrew Makuba's interception, and Jalen Hurts' clutch third down throw set up a tush-push touchdown. Philly's physicality and cleaner play was the difference in Arrowhead.
Shoving his way in. He's in.
Travis Kelce's goal line drop that turned into that interception swung the game, and it really epitomized the Chiefs' offensive struggles. Patrick Mahomes, he scrambled well early and connected with Tyquan Thornton for that late touchdown, but we're talking about missed chances and a lack of reliable weapons, which leaves Kansas City 0-2 for the first time in the Mahomes era. Now, the defense, it showed some progress, but that offense, it looks out of sync. Well, let's start with the good. Jake Browning overcame 3 interceptions to lead a 92-yard game-winning drive in the fourth quarter that concluded with the backup quarterback breaking the plane on a QB sneak for the game-winning score. We also got a monster game from Jamar Chase, who had his 8th career game with at least 150 yards receiving and a touchdown. It was a gritty comeback win, and they're 2-0 for the first time since 2018.
Jamar Chase gritties. Touchdown Bengals.
Here's the bad. NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport says it's feared Joe Burrow suffered a grade 3 turf toe injury. That's going to put him out 3 months. The guy can't catch a break. We'll see what Cincy's made of over the next few weeks. The Jags offense clicked most of the day, scoring on 5 of their first 7 drives, but penalties, turnovers, and 2 costly drops kept the game close. Trevor Lawrence threw for 271 and 3 touchdowns, while the run game averaged 5.1 yards per carry, but those missed opportunities proved costly late as Jacksonville falls to Cincinnati 31-27. Daniel Jones impressed again in Week 2, 316 yards and a touchdown, showing exactly why he was chosen as the Colts starter. Jonathan Taylor, that was an explosive 68-yard run, highlighted a balanced offense and fueled a comeback win. Your rookie, Tyler Warren, led the Colts 79 receiving yards. It's significant because he falls just 1 receiving yard shy of Brock Bowers' NFL tight end record of 156 yards through the first 2 career games. The guy looks to be a monster, and Indianapolis looks to be a real contender in the AFC South.
15-yard move by the rookie tight end out of Penn State.
Bo Nix and the Broncos looked to control after multiple red zone touchdowns and a strong third-quarter drive, but a fourth-quarter interception shifted momentum to Indianapolis. Costly penalties and a missed field goal all squandered away a late chance for a win. It was a roller coaster of emotions for the Patriots. Antonio Gibson's 90-yard kickoff return and Andres Borregales' late 53-yard field goal secured the Patriots' first victory of the season. Now, despite some shaky defense early, New England's fourth-quarter surge, capped by Marte Mapu's interception and 2 sacks, were able to close out Miami.
Intercepted on the play by Mapu!
Tua Tagovailoa threw for 315 yards and 2 touchdowns, with Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and Devon Achane helped fuel Miami's explosive offense, but that late pick and poor pass protection doomed the Dolphins quarterback. The silver lining in a winless start, the offense had showed some signs of life. Even without starting quarterback Devon Witherspoon, who was sidelined with an injury, Seattle's defense stepped up in a big way on Sunday. The Seahawks, they held the Steelers to just 64 first-half yards and overcame 2 turnovers. So credit Mike McDonald. His unit, they showed up big defensively, and they avoid an 0-2 start.
What an impressive 60-minute effort from Seattle today.
While the Steelers, already depleted by injuries, gave up over 30 points for the second straight week, the Seahawks, they ran through that defense with ease. Now, despite 2 interceptions, Pittsburgh's secondary, it struggled. The promising unit has already matched last season's total of 30-point games with a 31-17 loss. Aaron Rodgers looked human again with 2 picks. Tennessee led 13-10 at halftime after Matthew Stafford's interception, but the Rams, they bounced back to dominate the second half. They scored on 4 of their first 5 possessions before running out the clock. Stafford nearly flawless after the break, completing 14-17 passes for 191 yards, 2 touchdowns, including 1 to Devontae Adams to make it a 2-score game in the fourth. When this team is healthy, they're one of the scariest in the league.
Stafford hits him in stride for the score.
Rookie Cam Ward energized the Titans early with 3 scoring drives and an incredible touchdown for a halftime lead, but the offense, it collapsed after the break. Ward, he struggled under pressure, completing only 9 of 16 passes for 52 yards. He also took 3 sacks. There was a ton of heavy duress against a very strong Rams defense. 33-19, the final. Well, Mac Jones, he really settled in after a shaky start, throwing for 279 yards and 3 touchdowns, while looking comfortable in Kyle Shanahan's system. He tends to do that for his quarterbacks. Though he still had the ball a little bit too long at times, Jones, he showed he can run the Niners offense and keep them afloat, while Brock Purdy is out with that turf toe.
For a San Francisco touchdown!
A Spencer Rattler flashed playmaking ability while completing 73.5% of his 34 pass attempts, keeping the Saints competitive. We got some inconsistency and some drops, though, that really held this offense back. Despite falling to 0-2 after an Alvin Kamara fumble proved costly, New Orleans has battled hard and have shown maybe they won't be a layup for their opponents this season. The Cardinals jumped out to a 27-3 lead thanks to some early takeaways, including Josh Sweat, that strip stack return for a touchdown, and a Baron Browning interception. But Carolina stormed back with 3 touchdowns and an onside kick recovery. But that OG vet, Calais Campbell's late sack, sealed the win. Despite injuries in the secondary, Arizona's defense did enough to secure a 2-0 start.
And it's Calais Campbell turning out the lights.
Bryce Young's early turnovers dug a deep hole, gifting Arizona a big first-quarter lead. He later settled in, threw for 328 and 3 touchdowns while fueling 19 straight points with sharper decision-making. Still, though, his costly mistakes remain a major hurdle for the Panthers, a team that really can't afford them. I think fans of Carolina just want to see some consistency. Well, welcome back, Lions. After a rough outing in Green Bay, Detroit bounced back with an explosive offensive performance, highlighted by Jared Goff's 334 yards and 5 touchdowns against this Bears defense. And the Lions, they dominated. He had sharp play action, strong run game, and that unstoppable combination of Goff and Amon-Ra St. Brown. This reassures fans that high-powered offense is still very much one of the best in the league. After 2 games, I think most of us are actually wondering what the ceiling is for the Packers based off of the results against this Lions squad.
His third touchdown today, and there he goes.
Right into the leap zone.
Caleb Williams showed flashes early with a strong opening drive, but inconsistency, ill-advised throws, and turnovers, that quickly derailed the Bears' offense in a blowout loss. As protection broke down, the growing pains continue for Ben Johnson in game number 2. Chicago 0-2 in demoralizing fashion, dashing offseason optimism. The Bears fall to the Lions 52-21. Josh Allen and the Bills, they came to life at MetLife Stadium and they shut down the Jets with ease. Allen had that 40-yard scramble on the first drive. James Cook, he ran for 132 and 2 touchdowns. Even when the Bills were bloodied, literally, they were never even close to being beaten. Allen missed just 2 plays in that first half after a significant bleeding from his nose.
Trying to quell that bleeding, they finally added some cotton, as you saw, into that nostril.
The Jets are a little bit of an enigma. Week 1, encouragement around their offense gives us more questions than answers in Week 2. Justin Fields and the Jets offense lifeless, averaging just 3.3 yards per play. Breece Hall held to just 29 yards on 10 carries, and Fields, he was held at bay with 49 rushing yards. The Bills, they cruise 30-10. Atlanta's defense stole the spotlight. The rookies delivered. Jalen Walker, James Pierce Jr., Billy Bowman Jr., and Xavier Watts all making huge impact plays. Now, the pass rush had overwhelmed J.J. McCarthy, piling up 6 sacks, 11 quarterback hits, and 16 pressures, while holding Minnesota to just 198 yards of offense. This is not the defense we've seen in the ATL the last couple of years. Outside of Bijan Robinson, the Falcons' offense, it sputtered at times. It was the defense that carried them.
And that throw is intercepted by Billy Bowman Jr.
What a week for J.J. McCarthy. Week 1, he got Monday night comeback heroics, and then Sunday hit with the reminder of growing pains. He had 158 yards, 2 interceptions in a rough outing. Poor protection no doubt played a role, but his accuracy and shaky decision-making showed how quickly fortunes can flip in the NFL. The Ravens rebounded from their Week 1 collapse by dominating the Browns, capitalizing on a blocked punt and big plays from Lamar Jackson, Zay Flowers, and DeAndre Hopkins. Now, despite just 242 total yards of offense, Baltimore's complimentary football produced 41 points, and they look like a true contender. This is what we expected to see from one of the best rosters in the NFL.
DeAndre Hopkins has got it!
Cleveland's offense looked lifeless in Week number 2. Joe Flacco's lack of mobility led to turnovers and squandered opportunities. Despite a strong defensive effort, we did see rookie Dylan Gabriel flash late in garbage time. If the Browns' offensive struggles persist like this, Kevin Stefanski may be forced to reconsider his starting quarterback choice. The most talked about quarterback room this offseason gives us a little more fodder for talk radio. Dramatic finishes, block after block after block. Week 3 didn't hold back. I'm Mike Yam, and here's what we learned.
Oh my God.
The Rams and Eagles give us all the drama with a late-game photo finish. Perhaps all the Eagles' offense needs is a couple of explosive plays to unlock their operation. 2 long passes to A.J. Brown and Dallas Goedert. It sparked a quick strike score and a fired-up celebration from Jalen Hurts, injecting some hope and some relief into this team. In the second half, the Eagles mounted 3 more touchdown drives, including Hurts' 4th and goal dot to Devontae Smith that silenced concerns of a stagnant offense. Now, with the game on the line and 3 seconds to go, Jordan Davis, he blocked Joshua Carty's 44-yard attempt to end the Rams' chances. The ensuing return for a touchdown, that was the cherry on top for his stellar day.
The big man on, looks for the icing on one big cake.
The reigning champs prove they'll fight to the finish and pull off a 33-26 win over the Rams. The Browns stunned the Packers with a late-game blocked field goal that set them up for a game-winning field goal of their own. Cleveland's offense has been dreadful so far this season and remained a painful watch on Sunday, but coming in as the #1 total defense, that unit suffocated Jordan Love and set up a late-scoring chance with Grant Delpit's interception. Now, rookie Quinshon Judkins, he scored the game-tying touchdown before special teams sealed a thriller. Despite kicking woes in their first 2 losses, Andre Schmitz will start this week in an unfamiliar role of local hero.
The kick is good. Andre Schmidt from 55.
The Browns edged past a strong opponent with an important 13-10 win over the Packers. The Jets were down 23-6 to start the fourth, but their improbable comeback was ended by a 3-minute drive led by Baker Mayfield to set up Tampa Bay's game-winning field goal.
McLaughlin's kick right down the middle.
For the 3rd straight week, the Bucs have won at the buzzer. Down 3 starting linemen, the Bucs committed 14 penalties as Baker Mayfield looked for ways to move this team's offense. The defense, though, it delivered in impressive fashion. A Jamel Dean pick-6 and 4 sacks before a late Jet rally.
Jamel Dean, who takes it all the way back for a Bucs touchdown.
Gangrene nearly pulls off the comeback, but it's Baker and the Bucs who advanced to 3-0 after a 29-27 close finish. Tampa Bay is truly going to be tested next week when it hosts the undefeated reigning Super Bowl champs. Not sure anyone believed the Colts would go 3-0 to start the season, but Daniel Jones has looked confident all along. Shane Steichen continues to call excellent games, and Daniel Jones just keeps executing. Jonathan Taylor, dominant, 102 yards, 3 touchdowns on 17 carries as Indy scored on 6 of 8 possessions with Jones under center. He also made history with 3+ passing touchdowns, 3+ rushing touchdowns, and no giveaways in the first 3 games.
Indiana Jones in the quest for a winning season.
The Colts, they're rolling, silencing the haters after another strong win to start the season. Dicker the kicker sealed the win in Los Angeles as time expired. The Chargers are now 3-0, and Justin Herbert, well, he did much of the heavy lifting to get there. The Broncos generated pressure on a whopping 54.7% of Herbert's dropbacks. That's the highest pressure rate of his career, according to Next Gen Stats, and that led to 5 sacks. Yet that sort of pressure usually leads to ghastly numbers, a trove of errors, and ultimately a loss, but it's Herbert who throws for 300 yards and a touchdown with 1 pick. On the final 2 game-deciding drives, he went 8 of 9 passing for 93 yards and a touchdown. The dude is willing his team to its first 3-0 start in 23 years.
Touchdown! What a play!
The Chargers sit atop of the AFC West with a well-earned 23-20 win over Denver. San Francisco found itself in an old-fashioned division rock fight with Arizona on Sunday. Well, the numbers weren't pretty and each side had its share of blunders, but in the end, it was Mac Jones's mental toughness and San Francisco's experience that won out. Following a crucial stop by the defense late in the 4th quarter, the Niners, they moved downfield quickly, executed Kyle Shanahan's 2-minute offense with a collection of quick completions, capped by a 20-yard screen pass to Christian McCaffrey that set up Eddie Pinheiro for a game-winning field goal from 35 yards out. Remember, they just cut their previous kicker, Jake Moody, and it pays off.
And San Francisco is in first place. They win it at the Horn.
Now, less seasoned teams, they fail in these types of scenarios, but not Shanahan's Niners. They run away with a 16-15 win over the Cardinals. The Panthers pull off their first win of the season with a 30-0 shutout over the Falcons. Carolina's defense put the clamps on the Falcons with 11 quarterback pressures and 2 interceptions in the 3 quarters that Penix did play. They even kept Bijan Robinson out of the end zone. On the other side of the ball, Young, he went 16-24 for 121 yards with a reworked offensive line that only gave up 1 sack. While there's still plenty of work to do, this is a big step in the right direction.
Last time the Carolina Panthers had a shutout win was Week 11 of the 2020 season.
Atlanta falls to 1-2 after an upsetting loss over a seemingly beatable opponent. The Commanders hosted the Raiders without their QB1 leading the way, but they proved to be up for the challenge. Making his first start in 3 years, Marcus Mariota did what was asked of him in the Commanders' win, running for 40 yards and scoring twice. Washington, they controlled the game with a ton of contributors and a well-rounded group of Nichols, Rodriguez Jr., and Krosky Merritt, and of course Deebo Samuel. Washington, they can feel better about their situation if Mariota is needed again.
Whoa! Out the door you go for McNichols.
The Commanders advance without Jaden Daniels to 2-1 after a 41-24 win over the Raiders. The Bears finally looked whole against a tough opponent when they hosted the Cowboys at home. Now, this is what a Ben Johnson offense is supposed to look like. Now, the Bears, they mixed in deep shots, trick plays, and a patient, creative run game and had their best offensive performance of the season by a mile. Caleb Williams threw for 298 yards, 4 touchdowns, and he was not sacked in a game for the first time in his career. Johnson, he threw the kitchen sink at the Cowboys, and it worked.
Oh my God. Ben Johnson into his bag of tricks.
The Bears dominated in a 31-14 win over Dallas and are well-positioned to face the Raiders next week. The Jaguars defense, it won the day, holding the Texans to just 10 points in Week 3. The Texans were fortunate to have a shot late in the game, given their continuous struggles on offense, as the C.J. Stroud-led unit managed just 119 yards through 3 quarters before a defensive turnover set up a 50-yard touchdown to Nico Collins. On the offense, it came alive with 152 yards in that final frame, but Collins' fumble and Stroud's second interception sealed an 0-3 start. Now, Stroud's not getting a ton of help, but his costly mistakes, they're holding Houston back.
He may have gotten a piece, and net is picked.
Jags hold on for a 17-10 win over their AFC South rival. It was a battle of the backups, and Carson Wentz won this one, but he did get some help on the other side of the ball. Isaiah Rodgers made it easy on the Player of the Week selector, scoring twice, an 87-yard pick six and a punch-out that he scooped and scored for 66 yards. Even with little to play for over the final 2 quarters, the Vikings D, they gave up only 1 touchdown and gobbled up 4 total sacks. As if their defensive performance wasn't enough, Wentz, he ran Kevin O'Connell's system with poise, spreading the ball to Justin Jefferson, TJ Hockenson, and Jordan Mason, who rumbled for $116 and 2 touchdowns. Minnesota, it delivered its best all-around performance of the season.
The Vikings still steamrolling.
The Vikings pull off a dominant and important win with J.J. McCarthy out, showing promise ahead. Aaron Rodgers moved into 4th place on the NFL's all-time passing touchdowns list, surpassing his former teammate Brett Favre. But it was the Steelers' defense who won the day. It's stunning that the Patriots even had a chance to tie or win the game late, considering how they cared for the ball. They committed 5 turnovers and an unofficial 6th after being stopped on 4th down in the final minute. Now, the last time the Patriots had 5 turnovers in a game, Mike Vrabel was actually on the field for them in 2008. Vrabel knows his team coughed up another one at home, falling to 0-2 at Foxborough.
Stevenson has fumbled again.
The Steelers are now 2-1 with a 21-14 win over the Patriots. The Seahawks hosted the Saints in front of the 12s for a dominant showcase in Week 3. The Seahawks found the end zone on their first 4 possessions of the game, astoundingly doing so on just 15 total plays. Now, they possessed the ball for just 7 minutes, 41 seconds as they entered halftime with a 38-6 lead. Now, despite their limited time on the field, the Seahawks offense, it provided an eye-opening glimpse of their potential. Sam Darnold diced up the Saints efficiently, completing 14 of 18 passes for 218 yards and 2 touchdowns with no interceptions in 3 quarters of play.
And Seattle adds to its lead.
The 44-13 win came at an ideal time, with the Seahawks going into a short week against the Cardinals on Thursday night. The Chiefs faced the Giants to close out Sunday's games, and Mahomes, he was able to lead 2 touchdown drives to earn the victory. The KC won ugly. Russell Wilson had 2 interceptions and a gnarly 19.9 passer rating as Big Blue looked woefully small to the tune of 114 yards through 2 quarters. The biggest takeaway? Chance for rookie first-rounder Jackson Dart to replace Wilson. Now, things didn't get much better in the second half as Wilson was prone to throwing ill-advised moonballs. Dart, he got a few snaps, which is somewhat confounding, but overall, Wilson and the offense, they were running in place. Tick-tock, we wait for Brian Daboll to make the switch to Dart.
Yeah, that about sums it up.
The Chiefs finally get a win, but the Giants fall to 0-3. Once again, I'm Mike Ham. Tune in next week to see what we learned in Week 4. Surprising upsets and dramatic comebacks. Week 4, it delivered. I'm Mike Ham, and here's what we learned.
He sticks it out and it slips out of his hand. Unbelievable.
Jackson Dart's first NFL start did not disappoint. He led the Giants to a close win against an undefeated Chargers team.
In his rookie debut, Jackson Dart is a winner.
New York's offense looked energized in Jackson Dart's first start. The rookie looked poised early, leading a 9-play, 75-yard drive on the opening possession, which he capped off with a 15-yard touchdown run. His ability to avoid pressure kept the Chargers defense off balance. The numbers, they don't jump off the page. 13-20 passing for 111 yards and a touchdown, but Dart avoided turnovers and kept the Giants in positive situations. Malik Neighbors' ACL injury was a big blow, but after Dart's first start, there's some optimism under center in New York. The Giants secure their first win and hand the Chargers their first loss of the season. Micah Parsons returned to Dallas to face his former team. While each side hoped to get their revenge, the hard-fought battle resulted in a draw. For the first time in 56 years, the Cowboys ended the game with a tie. Micah's return to Big D gave us plenty of drama in what was an optional defensive fourth quarter. Fans retreated to overtime with no closure. 9 lead changes as Dak threw for 319 yards and 3 touchdowns, and without CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens had his best game in a Cowboys uniform. 8 catches, 134 yards, and 2 TDs. They weren't outdone by Jordan Love, who threw for 337 and 3 touchdowns. Parsons' overtime sack was the only one given up by the Dallas offensive line, which was playing without 2 of its starters.
Touchdown saving play by Micah Parsons.
After 2 of the more impressive wins to start the year, the Packers fall to 2-1-1. The highly anticipated Patrick Mahomes versus Lamar Jackson matchup did not deliver as anticipated. The Chiefs scored on 7 of its first 8 possessions, and Xavier Worthy's return was a big key to their success. An awful day at the office ended early for Lamar Jackson, who exited late in the third quarter with a hamstring injury. Jackson threw his first interception of the season, had a bad 4th down throw to turn the ball over on downs, and fumbled late in the first half. With so many defensive injuries, if Jackson misses time, it will seriously hinder the 1-3 Ravens' chances of making the postseason after a horrific September.
That's going to be huge to watch what happens to Lamar this week, if he's out or not.
The Chiefs appear to be back to their usual selves, moving to 2-2 thanks to 2 wins in a row. Chicago and Vegas made plenty of errors in what was far from the most technically sound display of football, and both had excellent chances to drive the final nail in the coffin Sunday at Allegiant Stadium. Those waiting for Ashton Jeanty to live up to those sky-high rookie season expectations finally got what they wanted. He rushed 21 times for 138 yards and a touchdown, plus he had 2 receiving touchdowns. But Vegas' 4 turnovers, which also included a Jeanty fumble, allowed the Bears to hang around, a strangely conservative approach that preceded Daniel Carlson's 54-yard field goal attempt in the final minute only added to the regrettable decisions that doomed the Raiders.
And agony down on that Vegas sideline.
In the end, the Bears refused to back down, and they come away with a close 25-24 win over the Raiders. Vikings and Steelers faced off in the NFL's first ever game in Dublin for some quality action in front of 74,000 fans at Croke Park. The Metcalf-Rodgers connection, it looked strong in Week 4. An 80-yard house call, it felt big time. It was the longest scrimmage score in the history of the international series. Pittsburgh's offense, it came into its own using that quick passing attack. Almost 73% of Rodgers' passes came with less than 2.5 seconds to throw. It was a recipe for success as Pittsburgh's production petered as the game wound down, but its hot first half and quick game was impressive enough to inspire hope.
80-yard touchdown, Rodgers to Metcalf.
Steelers head into a bye with a confident 3-1 record after a 24-21 win over the Vikings. The Cardiac Bucks couldn't pull off another close finish this week. Eagles, up 24-6 at half, had to hang on for dear life for the win. This game likely meant a lot to the Eagles, whose only definitive loss last season was in Tampa. For 30-plus minutes, they looked like the better team. The Bucks scored touchdowns on 77 and 72-yard drives and a 58-yard field goal to make it a one-score game late before Philadelphia's defense earned a late fourth down stop. It was a nail-biter for almost the entire second half, right down to the intentional safety they took as time ran out.
And Philadelphia is 4-0.
The conditions were entirely unfriendly, but the Eagles found a way to finish it off and advance to 4-0. The Colts had few answers for the Rams' offense in key moments on Sunday. Matthew Stafford and Puka Nacua, those guys stole the show. While the Rams looked good, there were two key plays where the Colts beat themselves. They had two apparent touchdowns taken off the board in the second half, and Adonai Mitchell had his fingerprints on both. Early in the third, Mitchell made a fantastic catch and raced to the end zone. Then he lost control of the ball at the 1-yard line for a touchback. Later on, Mitchell guilty of a holding penalty on Jonathan Taylor's negated 53-yard touchdown run with just over 2 minutes left and the game tied at 20. Combine that with 11 penalties and 2 Daniel Jones interceptions, and Indy suffers its first loss of the season.
And the Colts lose a touchdown.
The Rams take the afternoon with a 27-20 victory. The Jags defense ruined Brock Purdy's return with an eye-opening 4-takeaway performance in San Francisco. This one should put the league on notice. Jacksonville's defensive line absolutely dominated. Dennis Gardeck began the turnover parade with a brilliant strip early in the second quarter before Devin Lloyd picked off Purdy on San Francisco's next possession. In a one-score game, the Jags defense was ready to seal it for a win as former Niner Eric Armstead strip-sacked Purdy to end an improbable comeback.
Jacksonville has its 4th takeaway of the day.
It's the second game in a row where Jacksonville's defense was the key to a victory. They've now produced at least 3 takeaways in each of the first 4 games, and that's led to a 3-1 record. Falcons, they get a much-needed bounce back after getting shut out last week. Michael Penix threw it all over the yard in this game, connecting with Drake London 8 times for 110 yards and a touchdown. Tight end Kyle Pitts, he had 5 catches, 70 yards, and a score. Most importantly, Penix's accuracy, it improved, and that seemed to get Atlanta's offense back on track after a Week 3 shutout they'd love to forget. Now, Robinson was once again the highlight machine. He led Atlanta in rushing, 17 carries, 75 yards, and pieced together an excellent jump cut-filled touchdown run. He also caught 4 passes for 106 yards and served as the engine of Atlanta's offense. When Robinson has a good day, the Falcons, they usually win. He was stellar on Sunday.
Bajan with the mustard! Touchdown!
Week 3 showed some promise for the Falcons and question marks for the Commanders as they await Jaden Daniels' return. There was a slight scare in Buffalo as the winless Saints pushed for a road upset, but that's until Josh Allen single-handedly took over in the fourth quarter. After the Saints pulled within 2 points with 9 minutes to go, the Bills were faced with a crucial 3rd and 5 at midfield, and that made for a make-or-break moment. New Orleans' pass rush breathing down his neck, Josh Allen escaped the pocket and rumbled 27 yards on the play that jolted Highmark Stadium into a frenzy. His 28-yard touchdown at Dalton Kincaid on the very next play allowed the Bills to pull away to make it a 2-score game.
Wide open Kincaid! Touchdown!
It was an improved outing for the Saints following last week's blowout, but they're still searching for their first win heading into Week 5. Detroit avoided a letdown following a big Monday Night Football victory in Baltimore by dominating the Browns at home. Aiden Hutchinson was a demon off the edge, generating 2 sacks, a forced fumble, 4 quarterback hits, 9 pressures, 4 quick pressures, and 2 tackles for a loss. His .75-second get-off was no match for Cleveland's tackles. Now, the Browns' offense is in an ugly operation right now, largely in part to poor blocking, but the veteran quarterback Joe Flacco, well, he was just 47.1% on 34 attempts. The question is, how long will Kevin Stefanski stick with Flacco?
If I'm watching as a Browns fan or a player, it almost looks like they've given up.
With the Browns now at 1-3, will we see what rookie Dylan Gabriel can bring to the table? The Texans bounced back last week with a shutout at home. After a sluggish first half, the Texans made it into the end zone on their first 3 possessions of the second half, including a red zone score that put the game out of reach. The biggest change was the increased workload for running back Woody Marks, who had 12 carries entering Sunday, but 9 by the half. He finished with 119 yards from scrimmage and 2 scores. This was the best version of their offense we've seen so far this year.
Woody Marks! Second touchdown of the game!
The Texans finally notch a win and advance to 1-3 while the Titans remain winless. Houston takes this one 26-0. Those who've watched the Patriots in their first month of 2025 might have sensed a performance like this one was near, especially when considering the opponent. New England came out with an attitude and did not back down after giving up an opening drive touchdown, promptly outscoring Carolina 42-0 over the next 53 minutes. A Marcus Jones 87-yard punt return touchdown served as the spark that fired up the Pats. Drake May was sharp as a passer, finally turning to Stephon Diggs consistently for big gains and used his legs to score a touchdown in a game that took on head coach Mike Vrabel's identity on both sides of the ball.
Drake May, he can run it, he can throw it, and it's on display right now for the Patriots.
The Patriots get a much-needed win with a dominant 42-13 victory over the Panthers.